a little bit of news to talk about in terms of some YouTube content here. Blizzard are pulling out all the stops. Bellular believes we're going to get it all. We're going to get it all this week. So let's see what he has to say about everything coming in this week and let the hype train keep rolling. Here we go.
Well, I hope you're all enjoying the patch, but that does not mean that there's not news to cover. Blizzard's instant hotfixes have solved some major issues. There's been some confusion over the mount, Elite Legendary, a potential 6th Dragon Riding mount, and a bunch more. And let's get stuck in. Like how you should get stuck into our game, The Pale Beyond, because we just dropped a major patch for our publisher's special event, Ludonarracon. The biggest change is new difficulties, Classic, Normal, and Hard. The game is more fair, but if you want to do the harder mode, yeah, there's good stuff there. And on top of that, if you're on the fence about things, the demo now has transferable saves to the main game. So you can try it at no cost and then continue into the full game.
Comes super rare on me, yeah.
If you enjoy. So check it out, links below. And with that said, dude, where's my mount? Because there's this mount. It looks awesome. Blizzard had previously said that this beauty would be available this week, and it's not. Blizzard got it wrong because actually it's a part of Chapter 5 of the campaign, and everyone got very confused when they then finished Chapter 4 and there was nothing. But what's weird is that in Chapter 4, the dragons talk about recovering and taking some time, implying that's the intentional stop before the raid next week. But no mount. People weren't particularly happy, and ultimately, it actually seems this was a communications mix-up internally, because Kyvax took to the forums to say Chapter 4 and 5 next week, before then editing the post to call the chapters by their names, Inherited Sin and Inevitable Confrontation, which are actually Chapters 5 and 6, with only one being after that. Yeah, so basically, it's a miscommunication.
Just
it's an easy mistake to make with a massive team, but at either rate, the Slither Drake is next week, as are the Farak Assaults. And
it was extra weird because I got a bunch of Slither Drake customizations from some quests and stuff I was doing and killing rares, and obviously no Slither Drake.
Researchers Under Fire event, plus, of course, Season 2. Okay, fixes. You may have noticed there's no campaign skip in your alts. May have seemed like a step backwards, and it turns out that's intentional because actually alts have got everything unlocked anyway. You don't need to do a manual skip. Now, of course, if you feel like it, you can do the campaign because that will get you a bunch of gear. It'll get you flight stones and reputation. The point is, you don't need to. You can just go and do the Zaralek Caverns once they're unlocked in your main. Or at least that was the idea, because Blizzard made a slip-up. And that was that the Spark of Shadow Flame weekly quest was still locked behind Chapter 1. Now, usually, this would have been a big pain in the ass, and it would have taken weeks for a fix.
So the alts technically didn't have everything
initial,
unlocked?
a bit explosive backlash, Blizzard actually fixed it immediately. So now alts can just fly straight down and pick up the quest.
The new Blizzard, the Blizzard that reacts.
Now, you still need to finish the actual Spark quest, which means getting 1500 rep, but that's no big deal. Pretty nice, then. And Blizzard also clarified, there's a little minor drama about there being no Spark catch-up. Turns out there is. If you skip the Spark quest for a week, or maybe start an alt later, you will have a chance from almost all content for just bonus Sparks to drop.
That's right, Sparks will drop.
So,
Sparks will drop for you if you need to catch up.
This is an insane turnaround speed for fixes, and they're just basically thinking about problems and solving them whenever they show up, which is great. Now, while we're talking about fixes, if you were thinking that Zaralek was lacking content, it's potentially because you're not seeing it. So these are public events. Now, these are good. You need to do them for your fragrant coins that get you crests.
Yeah,
they're public events. And they only appear on your world map when your character is near to the map marker, which means that if you're just sat in Loam waiting for like some of these events to spawn in, you're just going to miss them. So basically, get patrolling. This is really dumb. Blizzard should make these appear globally.
Yeah, of course.
I mean, a lot of people are probably looking at the spawn rate of rares and thinking, great, I just sit in Loam for like 5 minutes and I do shag all. Well, no, in reality, actually, there's public events going on around the zone. It's just the map doesn't tell you, which is silly. Blizzard,
silly.
Fix that up. It would make sense.
At least when you're in the zone, you should be able to see
If you are wondering why a certain Dragonflight, one that to many players, such as myself, will be very relevant, isn't in this expansion, it may change. Right, so here's the deal.
The Grotto
There's a data mined item,
Drake.
Mr. GM found it while digging around, called the Grotto Netherwing Drake. And it was tagged as a dragon riding mount, costing 999 Trader's Tender. Now, Netherwing.
Whoa,
I mean,
wait. It costs Trader's Tender? Wait, is this a dragon riding mount? They're going to put a dragon riding mount in the trading post? I mean, I don't care. I have it. I barely spend my Trader's Tender.
Now,
that's interesting.
Netherwing. I mean,
I guess it's just a Netherwing Drake. I never got these. I never did this rep grind back in BC. I would take this
Netherwing rep. The whole thing in the Burning Crusade, right? It was getting your 4,000 gold, unlocking your epic flying, grinding your Netherwing Drake. And if you saw a player earlier on in the Burning Crusade with the Netherwing Drake, you think, ah, shit, they're really cool.
That's why Mr. GM tweeted this out.
It means a lot to people. Now, this would be awesome if we can get it.
It would be.
It's an aesthetic we've not seen since those early low-res days of the Burning Crusade. I think these look awesome.
Personally, I actually still think the Netherwing Drakes are some of the best-looking Drakes in the game. They're the oldest, man. They're some of the oldest, but they are so good-looking.
And if 999 Trader's Tender sounds too expensive, don't worry, because that's usually a placeholder cost for items that end up as the finishing rewards for the journal that month. Now, there's no model to show you, but, well, here's what an original one looks like for reference. And now, it's time for a cock-up. Well, the L's had to happen at some point. This is weird. Okay, the trading post had a bit of a whoopsie.
Just real quick. Oh, yeah, we talked about that as well. But I did want to say, real quick. So, Mr. GM tweeted this out. I wanted to show you guys this. Do Nether Drakes have a visage form? Right? So look at the Nether Drake. And then I tweeted back at him, one of the best tweets of all. This has got to be their visage form, right? If Nether Drakes had a visage form, this was it. This is it. This is such a badass combination. I wish we would get an ethereal with a Nether Drake visage form. Or with a Nether Drake with an ethereal visage form. I think it'd be great.
With the changeover
Maybe
to
I'm just
make.
tooting my own
Somebody
horn,
put
but
the
I thought my
wrong gear
reply
on
was
as
perfect.
the end of month reward completing the bar.
This is about that Medivh set.
And they revealed something exciting coming up. A set of Medivh-inspired gear called the Guardian of Tearsfall Ensemble. It was up for a few hours in EU before it was fixed, which was just enough for some people to spot it and nab it, except it wasn't actually ready. So it actually, it looks like this. And the actual models,
it looks great.
I think, are great. You've got the staff, which is no Atiesh, but it's a pretty damn good replacement. So, any mages or warlocks who want to kind of be a mysterious old wizard should be able to get this in coming months. Or
mysterious
or
old prophetic wizard.
Ooh, that's what they thought, because then Blizzard put it in the store for $8.
There you go.
And worse yet, it's only available till the end of May. So the old FOMO is there. But things are weird.
They put a little message.
It was obviously on the trading post.
Yeah.
People are then thinking, did you just take a trading post item, yank it out? Because this set was labeled as trading post on the PTR. It literally appeared on the trading post, and then you yanked it onto the store. And the answer for that is yes and no, because the small print on the Guardian pack actually says that it will be available in the trading post no sooner than 3 months after it leaves the store. So this is certainly new, and it shows that they are trying to get more revenue per player out of World of Warcraft with store items, which is
World of Warcraft numbers are down. What do you got to do when your numbers are down? Milk your whales. You got to milk your whales. It's the only way. So don't buy this if you don't want to spend $8. You can wait a couple months and then get it on the trading post. But essentially, what this would do is if you do buy it, you get to save your Trader's Tender.
Something that they've actually reported as
but it is what it is.
Success with in their recent earnings call. Basically, right, you either buy it now or you buy it with attendees down the line. Which means that if you're one of those players who doesn't have enough attendees...
Quinn, thank you for the follow and welcome to our
stream. Is it time to swipe? Because the thing is, if you buy it now, you don't have to spend the attendees later, and then you get the thing later.
Yeah.
I think that's something they're kind of acting
They also kind of put a monetary value on Trader's Tender, because now we know you could take the $8 and equivalent it to whatever this is going to cost in the trading post, and you're like, oh, so whatever, 900 trading tender are worth $8 in real life. There you go. the next
this will probably
Bitcoin.
bring in a fair amount of money for the people who want to get everything
Get your
from
trader's
the trading
tender.
post and the people who want things immediately. So buy now or earn later. It is straight from the modern video game rulebook.
Yeah, I'll
Not
just wait.
ideal. At least it is still going to go on the trading post, and at least it's happening in a way where people, they know. So
Yeah, it would have been extra fucked if they put it without telling people.
If you are buying it now, you are
Imagine they put this on the store without telling people it would be available later, and for 3 months people spent $8, and then it dropped on the trading. Oh my god. Oh my god. Blizzard headquarters would have burned down.
Saying, I could get this later, but I'm buying it now, maybe to save the tendies. I mean, I have
what
to
are people
assume
spending
there
their
will be a
traders
trading
tender on? I just have a ton of it. I don't buy anything.
Rather than a, like a capstone reward for filling it up.
I bought the magenta cloud serpent and maybe a sword or two. What are people just buying everything? I don't understand.
Suspicion here is that they are trying to move into lower
I just have a ton of traders tender
microtransactions. I have a sneaky feeling that they've looked at how well Final Fantasy XIV has been able to convert. Now, FF14 does have it is a really big, cash shop for cosmetics. And it does have many things that are higher ticket items, but it also has a lot of things that are way cheaper than WoW Store stuff. So I'm wondering if they feel that, all right, people like FF14, it has a good content cadence, and those developers have been able to get away with that.
That actually makes sense, Cap.
We can do it too. I imagine that's what's happened. Now, this actually wasn't the only mix-up, because the Twitch drop was also wrong for a bit. The first drop was supposed to be the Ethereal Portal Hearthstone
Right, still available if you haven't gotten it yet. 4 hours of watching the stream
set it to being the Blazing Hippogriff. Now, this has been fixed with the Portal now live this week, and the Hippogriff showing up next week as originally intended.
Yeah.
Okay, let's move on.
Not next week. Start this Tuesday, May 9th, after reset, it'll be the Hippogriff. Just FYI.
Legendary, maybe.
On Twitch.
So, Ian said no third Evoker spec in 10.1. But he did, however, say that Evokers might have something to look forward to on Sarkareth. And now we think we know what that is because of some deep data mining and a leak that may even be from inside Blizzard. Oh. To cut a long story short, a bunch of data mining hinted that there might be a secret Evoker legendary questline that's going to lead to them crafting their own class-exclusive legendary once Sarkareth is down. It's apparently going to be kind of expensive based on the reagents, and there's some remaining encrypted parts that are probably going to be quite hard, or at least very time-consuming to obtain. So this does feel like it is in the tradition of some of your older legendaries in the game, where they're not a thing that you just get somebody to make, as in Shadowlands.
It's some vanilla legendary.
A Valinir or a Shadowmourne or something. Or, Terragosa or Fangs of the Father, I suppose.
Oh, man, I'm so ready,
Now, that data mining was then followed up by this image being spread around. It might be real. Mr. GM pointed out that it says soulbound, meaning that the player owns the item, but the player
that would make sense if it was crafted.
Which means it's either fake or maybe an internal leak from inside Blizzard. The item itself is a one-handed fist weapon called Nazuro, Unbound Legacy. Now, that, of course, sounds rather similar to Nal Skull, which is where Sarkareth found the broken Oathbinder. Binder, Unbound, its relationship to the Dracula Legacy.
I see
the fact that it's being crafted, maybe fixing it.
If you're wondering what that thing is that he's talking about, it's the Infinity Gauntlet that Neltharion had that he was using to control the Drakthir. That got broken when he was fighting Razageth.
But the effect is not for the user. They actually end up buffing others, which then leans back to the whole
on 457, the 7 is spaced. Oh, yeah, you're right. Look at that. Good eye, Tundra Freeze. Yeah, look at how the 7 is oddly spaced here. I think this is probably fake.
Third spec that we speculated about in this video, which is kind of food for thought. Who knows? Sarkareth will die next week, so maybe we're going to find out soon.
Weird.
Now, if you're still watching this, but you've not actually played Dragonflight, then now's not a bad time to hop in for two reasons.
Do some Mythic Plus
Number
today.
one, there's a new trial, but it's a weird one. If you're playing WoW with active game time, but you haven't bought Dragonflight, then you can play Dragonflight's level up content on any character, including an Evoker, until June 4th. But you can't level past 60, because that would mean your character is unplayable after the trial. What happens is, because obviously all the leveling content scales, you can do all your leveling, but the experience is basically just stored. And then when you buy the expansion, you get all the experience. So that
is actually that's kind of cool. You're essentially trying out the expansion to see if you want it, and if you decide you want it, you get credit for everything you did during the trial. Some people are going to say, oh, look, dead game, Blizzard's doing everything they can to get people to buy Dragonflight, dead game. But I actually think this is a good strategy. Of course, the game is not what, popularity-wise, it's not what it was. Shadowlands did some damage, man. But this is kind of cool.
It's a free trial that basically is saying,
tell somebody to come back and try
like everything.
Yeah, do it.
You just can't do stuff that means you've got to be max level. But you won't feel like you're wasting time because all your efforts are banked up. So I guess that's a fairly innovative way of doing a promotion thing. The other thing, though, is there's a really aggressive sale. Because right now, the base edition of this game is 50% off in the UK.
Shit,
it's actually
50.
20 quid here. It's 40% off in the US at $30.
40.
The Heroic Edition with
I live in the US, that's all that matters.
The boost is $42. And the Epic, which has that, Hearthstone, Moghelm, 5... very stiff Dragonwing back items that don't look as good as they should, and 30 days of game time is $54. Now, when you consider that the game time is $15, that actually makes it a better deal than Heroic, which really shows how badly they want people to come back and play this game. And as a bunch of analysis has shown, between their monthly active user reports, their finances, some other behaviors, this is probably needed. Blizzard have literally said...
Because getting people to stay in Dragonflight isn't hard. It's getting people to come back to play Dragonflight. I think that where Blizzard's having a really hard time. Because the game is good, but nobody trusts it anymore after what's happened. So, good luck with that. Oh, the giveaway's over, Cadence. Our man Achilles won it on Friday. Yeah, congrats to him. He won the Epic Edition.
That this expansion didn't sell as well as the last ones. But they did say
new players.
that retention is actually up
is a big,
for the people who are playing
big
it.
difficulty.
That this is the best player retaining expansion.
We will be doing a giveaway
World
probably
Warcraft.
later.
Now, I'd say that's down to two things. Number one, the people least likely to stay around were culled by BFA and Shadowlands. And then number two, this is undoubtedly the best expansion they have shipped in a very, very, very long time, with a content cadence that is more aggressive. I mean, the first major patch of Legion was like the Broken Shore. And I feel like
if you refresh
10.1 has got a hell of a lot more than the Broken Shore. Yeah, so pretty good time. Now, there's also a sale on boosts, transfers, and the now a lot more useful faction and race changes, which are about 30% off. And remember, cross-faction guilds are now a thing, so Blizzard clearly want to sweeten that deal. These run until May 15th, though, so if you want in, well, that's the time you've got to deal with. And it also means that if you play the trial now, you will feel a bit of pressure to upgrade during the sale, because the sale ends before the trial does. Okay, and that's it for the main news. Obviously, keep an eye on the channel next week, because things are going to be crazy. I'm working on my big, sweaty, degenerate guide, because that's just kind of what I want to do.
The best kind of guide.
Before gearing in Season 2, we will be hitting that lore very hot on Tuesday night, probably with a video on Wednesday. That'll be quite exciting. And if you want something else to play, during the weekend, because you've probably finished the content before Season 2 starts, check out the Pale Beyond. You can literally play it for free. Transfer your save file from the demo over to the main game. It's all with our refactored difficulty, which we think is, it still is hard, but it is more balanced and more fair with an optional hard mode. Then, go do that shit. The Pale Beyond, I can happily say, is a really damn good game. People have been really enjoying it. Now is the best time to do it. And of course, if you want to check out some of the other things we're doing,
it probably is a good game. It's gotten good ratings.
Patreon, where we have got behind-the-scenes content. We've got a new episode of Lore Walking, our podcast on Neltharion. It's just over an hour of diving real deep into that character.
Very good stuff.
Just a bunch of other content there. So, we're very busy. We're very busy, and I'm probably going to get my Paladin up in Zaralek. Yeah, I think that's what I'll do this weekend. All right,
good stuff.
Have a great time, everybody, and I'll see you next time.
Thank you, Bellular. Another great one.